What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out the new Bracketology. It actually came out on Tuesday, but not much has happened since Tuesday, so I think we're okay with going through this. This is pre-champ week, so the next week or so, we're going to have all of the, what would you call it, conference tournaments happening, and I'll do a complete review over all of those once they get completed, and we officially have 10 days until we find out exactly what the bracket is going to look like for March Madness. 10 days from today, we will find out. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe. We're aiming for 300 subscribers as soon as possible, and you can help that by subscribing right now. So, now that that's done, let's get straight into this, and we got the bracket watch to look at before we go over the bracket. Alright, top overall seed is Purdue. I think it was Houston last week, so this is a bit of a change. First team out, we have St. John's here. St. John's, I think they were like an 11 seed last time we looked at this. And then last team in, Wake Forest, they had a huge upset over Duke a little bit ago, so that's why they moved up. They were out of it by quite a bit, but now they're back. And here is the bubble. Got Colorado State, Florida State, Villanova, and TCU for the last 4 byes. Villanova was way down. I think they were in the next 4 out. So they must have had a big jump. Florida Atlantic, I think, are dropping quite a bit. They were like a 9 or 10 seed a little bit ago, but now in the last 4 byes, so they got to be careful. I think Colorado State, Seton Hall, I'm surprised to see them here. I think they're a lot better than people make them out to be. I could see them at like an 11 or 10 seed, somewhere in that area. But right now they're in the last 4 in. This is a really good last 4 in. All these teams are very solid. New Mexico, yes, they're very good. They've had a couple upsets this year. Virginia has the best defense in the country. Their only problem is their offense, but they have 2 of the best defensive players in the country and the best overall defense. Wake Forest, we've seen what they can do. They upset Duke, and they had complete control of that game the entire time. It's very impressive. Now we have the teams who are just missing out right now and need to do something big before it's too late. First 4 out, St. John's, Utah, Providence, Iowa. Utah was in this by quite a bit, so this is surprising to see them here. I remember they were in the lower half of the bracket, and they were at like, I think, 9 or 10 seeds, somewhere in that area. So they must have had some bad losses because now they're out of the whole thing. Providence is pretty good. Don't sleep on them. I could definitely see them making it. Then we go to the next 4 out. If I was making this list, I probably would have Colorado and Pittsburgh in. I think they've both done enough. Pittsburgh's in a really tough conference, the ACC, and I think they've done pretty well in it, if I recall correctly. And Colorado, I think, is like 18 and 10 or something, which would probably put them around the bubble, so I guess that's why they're here. And then Drake and Memphis, I don't know much about them. Before we get to the 64 team, let's look at 68. We got the playing games here. We got Norfolk State, Central Connecticut. Both these teams are expected to be automatic qualifiers. Okay, Central Connecticut, Norfolk State. Central for Connecticut was not here before, so they are a new team. I'm not sure why they're now expected to win their conference tournament and they weren't last year. I mean, oh my gosh, I can't talk. Last week. But they're here now. Then Norfolk State has been here for quite a bit. They've been sitting at that 16 seed. We move on to this game. We got Little Rock, Grambling State, both expected to win their conference tournaments. Now we have the 2 probably more important games. Those people are just fighting to play the 1 seed. These people, if they get in the bracket, I could definitely see them doing something good, especially teams like Wake Forest and Virginia. First up, we got New Mexico and Wake Forest. I'm going to have to pick Wake Forest in this one. I just think they've shown a lot more of what they can do. I know I keep bringing this up, but they upset Duke, and that's a pretty big deal. They're a top 10 team. Then we got Seton Hall, Virginia. I'm going to take Virginia in this one. I do think it'll be a very, very close game if it does happen. But I just think Virginia is a little bit better with their defense. They held some of the highest scoring teams in the country. For example, North Carolina. They held them to only 54 points. But to be fair, they only did put up 44 themselves. So take that how you want. But now we move into the main bracket. We've got Purdue at the 1 seed still. They could take on Norfolk State or Central Connecticut. So we're not too worried about this game here. Purdue, whatever team wins here, Purdue's probably going to destroy them. But you never know. You never know. Crazy things can happen. Next up, we got Texas, Mississippi State. I like these 8 versus 9 seed games. They're usually pretty good. Who do I have in this one? I think I'm gonna have to give it to Texas. They're the higher seed, but they've been in and out of the top 25 quite a bit this year, so I'm gonna put them over Mississippi State. Plus, Mississippi State is moving down in the seeding. Next up, we got Clemson, Richmond. I'm gonna have to take Clemson here. They are doing very well in the ACC. I think they're like the third team in the ACC behind North Carolina and Duke. They're playing Richmond, who I think Richmond's pretty good. They have an incredible record. They're like something crazy, like 26-3 or something. But that is because they're in a very easy conference. So it's a lot easier to do that, and they probably would not be doing that if they were in a Power 5 conference. But I do like them having a 12 seed. Then we got Kentucky, Appalachian State. No question here, Kentucky has this one in the bag. All right, Wisconsin, South Florida. Do not sleep on South Florida. They are another of these teams who are in an easier conference, but they have a very good record, just like Richmond. But I do think they have a chance against Wisconsin. But Wisconsin is the better team overall, so I think I'm going to have to pick them. I have no choice there. Baylor, Oakland. I mean, it's going to be Baylor for sure. Baylor's been a little shaky throughout the year, but I do still think they are a top 10, top 15 team in the country. Next we move to Indianapolis. We got Dayton versus Oklahoma. I'm actually going to pick Oklahoma in this one. I know Dayton is ranked and all, but I don't know. I think Oklahoma, they're in the SEC, the best conference this year, and they've had to play quite a few great teams, and they've won a good amount of them, so I'm going to take Oklahoma here. Marquette, Sam Houston. It's going to be Marquette pretty easily. Marquette is very, very good at scoring. Next we move to the West here. We got Arizona versus Little Rock or Grambling. These 1 seed versus 16 games. Sure, the 16 seed has a chance, but it's very, very low. I think it's only happened like 1 or 2 times in the history of March Madness. So 1 seed pretty much secured a win. But you never know. 16 seeds could upset them, but it just does not happen very often. Then we got Nevada, Michigan State, another very good game here. Nevada, I've been keeping an eye on them. If you guys remember, about a month ago, I made a sleeper team to watch. Yeah, Nevada was in my 5 sleeper teams to watch going into March Madness, and I definitely going to have them over Michigan State. I do think Michigan State will put up a very close fight. I think Nevada might pull away a little bit towards the end, though. And that's it for the first area there. Now we have Salt Lake, we have BYU, Grand Canyon. Don't sleep on Grand Canyon. They're pretty good. They have a great record, a great conference record. But once again, all these 12, 13 seeds, they're only here because they're predicted to win their conference tournaments because they're in a very easy conference. But, I mean, they're the best team in their conference, so they have to be all right. But really, they're just not on the same level as some of these teams. So BYU will definitely take that one. Illinois, Samford. I mean, it's going to be Illinois for sure. Samford only here because they're expected to win their conference tournament once again. Next up, Florida, New Mexico, or Wake Forest. This will be a very good game. If Wake Forest wins this one, I might take them over Florida. If New Mexico wins, I think I'm going to take Florida over them. So that's that. Creighton, High Point. Creighton for sure, very easily. Going to win that one. Boise State, Florida Atlantic. Okay, very good game here. Florida Atlantic has been ranked, and not just like at 25th or anything. They were like 18th, 17th earlier this year. But right now they're at a 10 seed. They're not ranked. Boise State isn't even ranked. I'm going to have to give it to Florida Atlantic in this one. I just think they're the better team overall. Iowa State, Eastern Washington. Iowa State definitely shown that they can do it. I might even... I don't know about this one. I might even have Iowa State winning over Houston in their conference tournament, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not. Now we start up here at the top again on the east side, and we have UConn, Eastern Kentucky. UConn very easily. Now we have another good game here. Texas Tech versus a very hot Nebraska team. They're on a winning streak right now, but Texas Tech, I feel like, probably is the better team overall. They have a better record. They have a better seed. I mean, we're going to have a lot of upsets in March Madness. We always do. But it's really not the smart move to pick too many right now. So you got to stick with the better team, which is probably Texas Tech in this situation. Um, Next up, we have Washington State versus Princeton. Now, Princeton, they're very good. I think they only have 3 losses, which is tied for the most in the country. But then you're like, why are they a 12 seed? They're in the Ivy League, and pretty much all of their games were insanely easy. So that makes kind of sense. But I think, yeah, Washington State's going to have this one in the bag. I'm very high on Washington State. They were another team in my sleeper teams to watch video that I made a month ago. So I'm going to have them winning that one pretty easily. Next up, we have Alabama versus UC Irvine. It's going to be Alabama pretty easily. There, South Carolina versus Seton Hall of Virginia. Okay, this could be an interesting game here. I might pick the upset here. If Virginia wins, I'm going to pick them over South Carolina. If Seton Hall wins, I think I'm going to pick South Carolina over them. Virginia's defense is just too good, really. They've hung tough with a lot of very good teams. Virginia does. North Carolina, Duke, they've hung tough with all of them, and they've come out of it with a pretty good record in the ACC. If Virginia wins, I'm picking them over South Carolina. Seton Hall wins, I think South Carolina's got this one. Kansas Vermont is up next. Yeah, it's gonna be Kansas for sure. Vermont expected to win their conference tournament. Gonzaga is going insane right now. They were a 6 or 11 seed just the last video, but they've been winning nonstop. They are back in the top 25, and now they're all the way up to a 7 seed. So they're really hot right now. We'll see if they can carry that into their conference tournaments, though their conference is relatively easy. Villanova, another team doing very well right now. They were out of the tournament. Now they've worked their way all the way up to a 10 seed, and right now they're going to be playing one of the hottest teams against them. This is going to be a matchup to watch. 2 of the hottest teams in the country going at it. If this ends up happening, which the odds are pretty low, but if this does happen, I think I'm going to have to pick Gonzaga. Higher seed. They are very hot right now. Next up, we got North Carolina, Colgate. I'm going to have to give it to North Carolina here. I know I'm a Carolina fan, but we are just the better team. I think everyone in the country would agree with that. Now we have the South. We are 1/4 away from being done here. Houston, South Dakota State. Houston pretty easily there. Northwestern, Colorado State. Don't sleep on Colorado State. I think they have a very good chance in this one. These 8 versus 9 seed games will be very, very close, no matter who is in them. I think I will pick Northwestern in that one. Auburn, McNeese State. Auburn's doing pretty well right now. They're ranked 18th in the country. McNeese State, though, is pretty hot too, but just not on the same level as Auburn. Auburn will take that one. San Diego State should win pretty easily over Charleston. Utah State, Indiana State. That's a good game. Both automatic qualifiers, but I think Utah State would have been there regardless. I mean, Utah State, you've got to pick them over Indiana State. Duke Akron is up next. Duke, I hate Duke with everything in me. They should be able to take down Akron. All right, St. Mary's TCU, a very good game here. I don't know. I was thinking about picking TCU in this one. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do it. Pick TCU over St. Mary's. I'm calling it right now. Tennessee, Quinnipiac. It's going to be Tennessee very easily. And there you have it. Here's our conference breakdown real quick. Big 12. Oh, Big 12 is overtaking the SEC with 9 teams in it now. That's kind of crazy. SEC, though, still has 7. Big 10 has 6. Mountain West has 6. Big East has 5. ACC has 5. Pac-12, American, West Coast, and Atlantic 10 all have 2. So there you have it. That's Bracketology. This is we might have one more Bracketology before March Madness. Once March Madness comes on, just know we're going to be covering it every single day. So be sure to subscribe so you're here for that. I will see you guys in the next one, though. Have a great rest of your day. Subscribe. Remember to keep God first. Peace.